Harry prepared himself for travel, mounted his purebred black Arabian horse, and quickly headed to his village. After a few hours, Harry saw his village from afar and felt a strong and strange feeling filling his chest, as he had returned home after being away for many years. Harry entered the village, left his horse tied in the village stable, and walked through the village streets, and whenever his eyes looked at a place, memories came to him, some beautiful, some funny, some painful and sad. His village had not changed much. He went excitedly to Mario's house. Our friend Harry knocked on the door. No one opened. He knocked again. Harry waited a little and heard a sound coming from inside the house. His heartbeat quickened and he felt excited and afraid. He wondered how Harry had become after all these years. "Will he remember me?" Harry asked himself, and the door opened quietly. Harry saw a bright and innocent face, with features of dignity and tranquility. Of course, it wasn't Mario's face. Harry froze in shock and did not utter a word. He was looking at this beautiful face. The lady asked him calmly and politely, "Can I help you, sir?" Harry regained his mind and said, "Excuse me, ma'am. I'm looking for Mr. Mario. Can I see him?" The lady replied, "Do you mean the young man who was staying here? He left the village and sold the house after his grandmother died and went to work in the distant city of Barcos." Harry said, "Thank you, lady." "Linda. My name is Linda," the lady replied, smiling. Harry said, "It was a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Linda. I am Mr. Harry. We are honored." Harry said goodbye to her, and he was amazed by her beauty, politeness, and noble manners. He decided to go to the city of Barcos on the ship. Harry boarded the ship for the first time. The journey took 5 days to reach the port of Barcos. Harry excitedly entered the city and began his journey to find his friend Mario. The city of Barcos was a very beautiful and large city, and trade was active, and Harry learned about new things that were not found in his city. He felt hungry and went to the bakery and bought 8 loaves of bread. He ate a loaf and said jokingly, "It seems that there is no bread better than the bread of my village." Ha ha ha! He distributed the rest of the loaves to the poor, and he asked many people about his friend Mario, and every time someone told him about a young man named Mario. It wasn't his friend Mario. Then he asked a young man who was working as a carpenter about Mario. The carpenter looked at Harry with a look of astonishment and asked him about his origin. Harry said that his origins were from such and such a village. The carpenter was astonished and shouted, "You are a Jojab!" Harry was shocked, as if he had been struck by lightning, as he had not heard this name for years, and he shouted, saying, "Mario!" They hugged tightly, and fate brought them together again, and they started talking about their conditions and remembering the days of childhood and poverty and how the condition of each of them had changed. And Harry told him the story of changing his name, and Mario laughed and swore that he would only call him Jojab. The two friends agreed to visit their village and homeland, and there was a reason for Harry's travel to the village that Mario did not know. The two friends arrived at the village, watching the tape of the past before their eyes, and they went to the restaurant in the village and sat at the table. Mario pointed at the table and said sarcastically, "Here you lost your bag, Jojab. Ha 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 ha." Jojab smiled in defeat and asked Mario, "I wonder what did you do with the bag?" Mario's features turned from laughter to seriousness, and he said sadly, "In fact, Jojab, I bought medicine for my grandmother because I didn't have enough money." Jojab understood why Mario was sad and hugged him and said, "May your grandmother rest in peace." The sun set and Mario felt sleepy, so he decided to go to the hotel and spend the night there. As for Jojab, curiosity forced him to visit the bar where he worked. Jojab entered the bar quietly and sat at one of the tables. Jojab smiled as he noticed that the spot he fell on was still broken. Jojab looked to the bar owner and asked him for some food. The bar owner didn't recognize Jojab, while Jojab never forgot Raphael's face, even though he had become old and emaciated. He asked him, "Sir, do you know that the floor here is broken?" Raphael replied, "In fact, sir, I never thought about repairing it." Jojab said, "How was it broken?" Raphael said rudely, "I don't know, sir, but it's been a long time. Do you want to eat something else?" Jojab thanked him and left the bar. Jojab felt comfortable and calm and felt that he had gotten rid of Raphael's nightmares that were bothering him. Jojab went to the jewelry seller and bought an expensive diamond ring. He felt tired and slept in the hotel with his friend Mario. Mario woke up from sleep and woke up Jojab to start a new day. Jojab suggested to Mario that they go to see Mario's house. Mario agreed enthusiastically and Jojab put on his best clothes. Mario was surprised by him, and they headed to Mario's house near the river. They practiced their hobbies of fishing and swimming in the river. Mario suggested asking permission from the owners of the house so he could see the house from the inside. Jojab liked the idea, and Mario knocked on the door. Mrs. Linda, with her beauty and politeness, came out from behind the door and welcomed the guests to her house. Mario entered the house and felt nostalgic for his home. He remembered his grandmother and cried in silence. The two friends sat and talked with Mrs. Linda and drank tea until the visiting time ended and Mr. Jojab did something that astonished Mario and Mrs. Linda. He knelt down in front of Mrs. Linda and asked her to marry him. Mrs. Linda was ashamed and her face turned red. Of course, she agreed to this great offer, and they held a simple wedding with the village residents, and the three of them lived in the village, and Jojab became the mayor of the village and made it one of the finest villages until the village became free of the poor and criminals.